The Deeper Life teaching has been revealing to us over these years that the cross that we too are to take up daily and follow is to deal with the self-life or the selfish life. In other words, we put ourselves first instead of the Lord. And so there is something that is needed that is powerful enough to be able to deal with that selfishness that is in all of us. We don't even have to work at it. We don't even have to nurture it. It's there. And it raises its ugly head so often. But the good news of the gospel is that there is something that can and will deal with that. And turn with me, if you will, to Galatians chapter 2. And we'll look at the familiar verse of verse 20 of Galatians chapter 2 and verse 20, of which the Apostle Paul says, I have been crucified with Christ. It is no longer I who live, but Christ lives in me. And the life which I now live in the flesh, I live by faith in the Son of God who loved me and gave himself for me. So there, the apostle reveals very clearly how he is able to walk the walk that he did. To be able to take all the responsibility of the churches. To be able to go through all the persecutions, the imprisonments, the whippings. He went through a huge amount. And he saw the key to it. He saw where the power lay. This is what kept him going. And this is what keeps us going as well. So what do men do with a cross or their cross? What did Jesus do with his cross? Well, his cross was to be taken to Calvary. And there he was placed upon it, hung to the world, looking full of shame, looking full of misery, a bloody mess. That is what the Son of God looked like hanging up on that tree. It was not a pretty sight. As we know, it was the worst form of execution. Only the vilest of sinners were crucified. But it was signifying something. It was revealing what God was about to do through Jesus Christ. How God calls the foolish things of this world in which to confound the wise. And it was the very means by which his Father raised him up in glory and in power. It had to be the way of the cross. So what do we do with our cross? The apostle clearly reveals to us that we take it up daily and we follow him.